Hello, in this video I'm going to talk about speaking exams, particularly the Cambridge exams, so FCE, CAE, CPE, and how you can work towards being able to do all the things Cambridge want you to do in those exams, because it's really not easy. So Cambridge, in their exams, they assess you slightly differently on different things in different parts of the exam. So they might assess you on how well you interact with your partner. They can assess you on how you organise your speaking, as well as pronunciation, vocabulary and grammar. And as if that wasn't enough, you have to do all the things they want you to do within the confines of the tasks they set you. And that is a very, very tall order. So a few weeks ago, one of the lovely people in my Facebook group basically asked a question, which was how do I prioritize this? How can I practice all of this stuff? And it's a really, really good question, right? Because there is so much to do. So I'm going to use CAE Speaking Part 2 as an example. So if you don't know this exam, in CAE Speaking Part 2, candidates are shown 3 pictures. They have to choose 2 pictures to talk about. There are 2 questions for them to answer. The questions very often use speculative language. What might be happening? How might the people be feeling? And basically candidates have got 1 minute to talk about the 2 pictures. They have to compare the pictures, they have to answer both questions, they have to speculate, and it's just really hard for people to do that. I find it incredibly difficult to do it well. Now, the girl who asked me the question in my Facebook group, she wanted to know, really, I think, can I prioritize this? Like, is some of this stuff more important than others? And the answer, of course, is no, it's not. It's all important. So for anyone who would be doing CAE speaking, in that part 2, you have to be able to speculate. That's part of what they're listening for. You have to be able to compare the 2 pictures. That's something else they're looking for. And you have to be able to do all of that and answer both questions within Cambridge's time frame. Now, when you get to CPE, obviously it becomes even more complex, and they're looking for even more stuff from you. So the picture task at CPE, you do with your partner, so it's a collaborative task. And you have more pictures to talk about. You do have more time to talk about them in, but you have to discuss all of them. And you have to do all the things Cambridge asks you to do on the day, as well as managing the conversation, interacting with your partner, using high-level grammar, using high-level vocabulary. And you're right, it's an awful lot for anyone to think about. So how do you deal with that? What do you do? How do you prepare for this crazy, crazy stuff that Cambridge ask of you? Well, first of all, I think you have to appreciate the difference between practicing and performing. So it's totally okay when you are preparing for an exam to choose what specific bit of the task you're going to work on. So, for example, to go back to the CAE task, I would absolutely encourage people to separate out practicing speculation and practicing comparing and practicing grammar and practicing vocabulary. I would definitely say that that is a good strategy. So you might work on CAE Speaking Part 2 with your smartphone, and you might set yourself a goal. Okay, this time I'm going to really focus on my ability to speculate and work on it. And you might do that several times. And when you feel comfortable, you then might think, okay, great, I can kind of speculate a bit now. Now I want to focus on comparing. And then you put all your attention onto that. Now the idea is that with enough practice at the different individual components of each task, you will be able to bring them all together so that when you perform, everything is already in place. I hope that makes sense. Essentially, definitely separate out different parts of what Cambridge are looking for and practice those, but you do also need to practice the performance, so practice the whole thing together. And when you do that, you basically need to let go of this clear focus on one aspect and just allow yourself to do the task. So I'm going to leave this video with one little quote that I found it recently. I wrote it down ages ago and I found it, and it's a really good quote for, I'm just unfolding my paper, for this particular topic. And it's a quote by a lady called something Larson Freeman. Can't remember her first name. And she's an American linguist, language teacher, blah blah blah. And she had a quote somewhere that said, "The only thing I know how to do is to focus on one part while simultaneously attempting to do the whole." And I like that quote because I think it's really applicable for the Cambridge speaking tasks when you practice them. You put your attention onto one part of the task while attempting to do the whole thing. And then at some point you'd stop putting your attention on one part and just do the whole thing. And you have to kind of flick backwards and forwards between this more focused practice and this more free practice where you allow yourself just to do the task. So I hope that's been helpful. If you are working for a Cambridge exam and you are concerned about the speaking or you have questions, please feel free, leave me a message. I'm always happy to answer your questions. Those Cambridge speaking exams, they are really tough, okay? I struggle, particularly with CAE Part 2. I really don't feel comfortable with it at all. So anything that you'd like to know, do get in touch. Thank you for watching.